Welcome to CyberXplain channel. Today we are going to discuss IAM basics, unpacking identity, access, and entitlements. Hey everyone, and welcome to our session on identity and access management. I'm really excited to dive into some core concepts today that are super important for anyone looking to understand how digital security works. We are going to break down identity, access, and entitlements into easy-to-digest pieces. Think of me as your friendly guide on this journey, no complicated jargon, just plain talk and real-world examples. Have you ever wondered how your favorite online services know who you are and what you are allowed to do? That's exactly what we are going to explore. So, let's start with identity. In the digital world, your identity is essentially your unique fingerprint, but for systems. It's how a computer system recognizes you as distinct from everyone else. Just like your physical ID card proves who you are to a bouncer, a digital identity proves who you are to an online service. It's a collection of unique pieces of information that describe you. This isn't just your name, but also your username, your email, maybe even a unique number assigned to you by a company. This identity helps systems understand, this is you, not someone else. When we talk about human identities, these are the easiest to picture, right? These are you, me, our colleagues, our customers, and even temporary contractors. Everyone who needs to log into a system or use a digital service has a human identity. For employees, this identity is usually managed by the company's HR systems and IT. For customers, it might be the account you create on an e-commerce website or a banking app. Each of these identities represents a real person interacting with digital resources. It's all about making sure the right people are doing the right things. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Identities aren't just for people anymore. Think about all the smart devices around us, your smart home speaker, a sensor in a factory, or even a cloud server doing complex calculations. Each of these things needs its own digital identity to operate and communicate securely. We call these machine identities or sometimes IoT identities for Internet of Things devices. They authenticate themselves to networks and other systems, just like you log into your email. Without their own identity, they couldn't be trusted to send data or receive commands. It's a vast and growing world of digital identities. Another type of non-human identity is the service account. These are identities used by applications or services to interact with other applications or data stores without a human in the loop. For example, a web application might need to read customer data from a database. Instead of using a human's credentials, it uses its own service account. This allows the database to log exactly which application accessed the data, enhancing security and accountability. These accounts are vital for automation and ensuring that different software components can work together seamlessly and securely. It's like giving your car keys to a trusted valet service, not a random passerby. So, why bother managing all these different types of identities? Simple: security and efficiency. If we don't know exactly who or what is accessing our systems, how can we protect them? Managing identities ensures that only legitimate users and devices are allowed in and that we can track their activities. It's like having a guest list for a party. You need to know who's coming, who's allowed, and who needs to be politely shown the door. Effective identity management prevents unauthorized access, helps us comply with regulations, and keeps everything running smoothly. It's really the first line of defense in the digital world. Now that we know what an identity is, how does a system actually recognize it? The most common way is something you know. This includes things like your password, a PIN, or a secret question. It's information that only you, the legitimate owner of the identity, are supposed to know. Think of it like a secret handshake or a password to a clubhouse. If you know the secret, you are in. This method is widely used because it's simple and relatively easy to implement. However, if that secret information falls into the wrong hands, your identity can be compromised pretty quickly, which is why strong passwords are so critical. Next up is something you have. This is a physical item that belongs uniquely to you, like a key fob, a smart card, or your smartphone. When you use your banking app and it sends a code to your phone, that's something you have in action. The system trusts that if you have the physical device, you are indeed who you say you are. It's like carrying a specific key to open a specific lock. This method adds a layer of security because even if someone knows your password, they still need to get their hands on your physical item to gain access. It's much harder to steal both simultaneously. The third way systems recognize you is something you are, which refers to biometrics. This is about using your unique biological characteristics, like your fingerprint, Face ID, or even your voice. These traits are incredibly hard to fake or steal, making them very strong forms of identification. Think of unlocking your phone with your thumbprint or looking at your camera for face recognition. This method is becoming increasingly popular because it's convenient and offers a very high level of assurance. It truly leverages your unique self as your ultimate identifier. Now, imagine combining these methods. That's where multi-factor authentication, or MFA, comes in, and it's a security superhero. Instead of just using one type of proof, MFA requires at least 2 different factors to verify your identity. For example, it might ask for your password, something you know, and a code from your phone, something you have. This dramatically increases security because even if a bad actor steals one piece of information, like your password, they still need the second factor. It's like having 2 different locks on your front door, each requiring a different type of key. Most modern services highly recommend or even mandate MFA for this reason. Let's walk through a common MFA example, logging into your online bank. First, you enter your username and password, which is your something you know. The bank then sends a unique, one-time code to your registered mobile phone, which is your something you have. You enter that code on the banking website, and boom, you're in. This two-step process makes it incredibly difficult for an unauthorized person to access your money. Even if a scammer gets your password, they'd also need physical access to your phone to get that second code. It's a fantastic layer of defense for your most sensitive information. Okay, so we've established who or what an identity is. Now, let's talk about access. Access simply means permission or the right to do something within a system or with a resource. It's not just about getting in, but also what you are allowed to do once you are inside. Think of it like having a ticket to a concert. The ticket grants you access to the venue, but it doesn't necessarily give you access to go backstage or meet the band. Access defines the boundaries and capabilities of an identity. Without proper access controls, even a verified identity could wreak havoc or expose sensitive information. Access isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It comes in different levels of granularity. For a simple document, you might have view-only access, edit access, or even delete access. For an application, you might have the right to run it, configure it, or administer it. These different levels ensure that identities only have the permissions they truly need for their tasks. Imagine giving someone a library card. They can view books, but not edit them. This precision in defining access is a cornerstone of good security, preventing accidental mistakes or malicious actions. Let's use a simple analogy: your home key. Your key grants you access to your house. But once inside, you have certain access rights. You can open the fridge, turn on the lights, or watch TV. However, you probably don't have access to change the wiring in the walls, right? That would require an electrician. The key is authentication, and what you can do inside is your access. In the digital world, it's the same principle: proving who you are. Identity gets you in, and your predefined rights determine what you can do, access. In a company setting, access is much more complex. An employee might have access to their department's shared files, a specific HR application, and certain network drives. A developer might have access to code repositories and deployment pipelines, but not financial records. This system ensures that sensitive company data and systems are only available to those who absolutely need them. Modern cloud environments like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud have very sophisticated ways to manage this enterprise access, making sure thousands of identities interact with millions of resources securely. It's a huge logistical puzzle, but vital for business operations. Now we bring it all together with entitlements. Think of entitlements as a package or a bundle of all the specific access rights granted to an identity. It's not just one permission, but the entire collection of view, edit, approve, or delete permissions across various systems and data. So, for a customer service representative, their entitlement bundle might include access to the CRM system, the customer database, view only, and the support ticket application. Entitlements consolidate all the individual permissions into a manageable whole. It's like a personalized security playbook for each identity. Managing individual entitlements for every single person or machine would be a nightmare, right? That's why we use roles. A role is a job function or a set of responsibilities, like customer service representative or IT administrator. We assign a predefined set of entitlements to that role. Then, instead of assigning hundreds of individual permissions to each new employee, we just assign them the customer service representative role. This automatically grants them all the necessary entitlements. It's a massive time saver and makes managing access much more consistent and scalable in large organizations. It's like having job descriptions for digital access. Here's one of the most important concepts in IAM, the principle of least privilege. This golden rule states that any identity, whether human, machine, or service account, should only be granted the absolute minimum access rights necessary to perform its intended function, and nothing more. If a customer service rep doesn't need to delete customer data, they shouldn't have that permission. If a server only needs to read configuration files, it shouldn't have write access. Following this principle significantly reduces the potential damage if an identity is ever compromised, limiting the attacker's reach. It's like giving someone only the exact tools they need for a specific job, not the whole toolbox. Let's put this into practice. Imagine a new marketing associate joining a company. Instead of manually granting access to the marketing drive, the project management tool, the social media scheduler, and various internal dashboards, we simply assign them the marketing associate role. This role comes with a predefined entitlement bundle that includes all the access they need for their job function and nothing extra. This automated provisioning ensures they get what they need on day one without excessive permissions, following that least privilege principle. It's a smooth, secure onboarding process. This makes everyone's life easier, especially IT. Alright, let's look at a concrete real-world scenario. Imagine a company, Tech Innovations Incorporated, that's very modern and has deployed smart office devices everywhere, smart lighting, thermostats, even smart coffee machines. One day, a new, fancier smart light bulb is installed in a break room. The IT team is busy with other projects and doesn't get around to fully configuring it. It just works out of the box. Sounds convenient, right? But this convenience often hides a lurking danger. This is a classic example of an unmanaged IoT device entering an enterprise environment. Here's the problem: this brand new smart light bulb, like many IoT devices, comes with default factory credentials, often something incredibly simple like admin password 123. The installation guide probably says to change it, but it was overlooked. This unmanaged machine identity now has an easily guessable password. Hackers actively scan the internet for devices with these default credentials because they know it's a super common oversight. It's like leaving your front door unlocked after buying a new house, an open invitation for trouble. This single point of failure can unravel an entire security posture. An opportunistic attacker, scanning for vulnerabilities, finds the smart lightbulb on Tech Innovations Inc.'s network. They try common default credentials, and to their delight, they work. The attacker has successfully authenticated to the lightbulb, exploiting its weak identity. This might seem minor, it's just a lightbulb, after all. But this is the crucial first step. The lightbulb, as a legitimate network device, now acts as a foothold. It has its own IP address and is connected to the company network, giving the attacker a presence inside. This initial access, however small, is priceless to an attacker. From the compromised lightbulb, the attacker starts what we call lateral movement. This means moving deeper into the network from their initial entry point. The lightbulb itself doesn't have much sensitive data, but its network connection allows the attacker to scan for other devices and systems. They are looking for other weak points, like unpatched servers or other devices with default credentials. It's like getting into a building through a service entrance and then exploring all the hallways to find an unlocked executive office. They are leveraging the lightbulb's network access to expand their reach and find more valuable targets. Using the lightbulb as a proxy, the attacker starts running automated vulnerability scans. They discover an old, unpatched file server in the marketing department, holding years of customer contact information and campaign strategies. This server happens to be running an outdated operating system with a known vulnerability that allows for privilege escalation, meaning the attacker can gain administrative access. The lightbulb, a seemingly innocent device, has become the perfect launchpad for a much more serious attack. The least privilege principle was violated here, as the server should not have been accessible from the IoT network segment. With administrative access to the file server, the attacker now has full control over sensitive marketing data. They quickly start exfiltrating it, copying it out of the company's network and into their own hands. This could include customer names, email addresses, buying habits, and proprietary marketing plans. This breach, stemming from a single unmanaged IoT lightbulb with default credentials, has now led to a significant data loss incident. This is a classic example of how a seemingly small identity and access weakness can lead to a catastrophic business impact, potentially causing huge financial and reputational damage. So, how could Tech Innovations Incorporated have caught this? The first step is robust logging. Every system, every device, every application should be recording what's happening. Who logged in? What did they do? When did they do it? For our lightbulb scenario, unusual login attempts or a successful login from an unexpected IP address would be recorded. For the file server, logs would show unauthorized access attempts or large data transfers happening at odd hours. These logs are like the security camera footage of your digital infrastructure. They provide the critical evidence needed to detect and investigate incidents. Beyond just logging, anomaly detection is key. This is like having a really smart security guard who knows what normal behavior looks like and immediately flags anything out of the ordinary. For example, a smart lightbulb typically only communicates with the lighting control system. If it suddenly starts trying to connect to a file server or scan the network, that's an anomaly. Security tools called User and Entity Behavior Analytics (UBA) specialize in this. They constantly analyze activity patterns across all identities, human and machine, to spot suspicious deviations from the norm. This is how you catch things before they become full-blown disasters. The number one, simplest, most impactful mitigation from our scenario: always change default passwords on all devices, especially IoT. Manufacturers include them for easy setup, but they are a massive security risk. Treat every new device like it's a blank slate needing a strong, unique password. If possible, disable default accounts entirely once a custom, more secure account is created. This simple step would have completely prevented the initial foothold in Tech Innovations Inc.'s network. It sounds obvious, but it's overlooked far too often, and attackers rely on it. Strong, unique credentials for every identity are paramount. Another vital best practice is network segmentation. This means dividing your network into smaller, isolated zones, like different rooms in a house with separate doors. IoT devices, like our smart light bulb, should be placed in a separate, isolated IoT network segment away from critical servers and sensitive data. This way, even if an IoT device is compromised, the attacker can't easily jump to other parts of the network. It enforces a digital fence, making lateral movement much harder. Our light bulb shouldn't have been able to see the marketing file server at all, limiting the blast radius of any breach. Just like human employees get their access reviewed, machine identities need regular access reviews too. Do they still need all the permissions they have? Is that smart light bulb still configured correctly? Are its entitlements still adhering to the principle of least privilege? For IoT devices, this might involve automated scans or audits to ensure configurations haven't drifted and default credentials haven't reappeared. These periodic checkups confirm that all identities, especially non-human ones, only possess the exact access they require, no more, no less. It's about preventing permission sprawl for everyone and everything. Manual configuration of devices is prone to error and oversight. For a truly secure IoT environment, automated provisioning is crucial. When a new smart device comes online, a robust system should automatically enroll it, assign it a unique, strong credential, not a default, and place it into the correct network segment with appropriate least privilege entitlements. This day one automation ensures that security best practices are baked in from the start, every single time. It takes the human error out of initial setup and enforces consistent security policies across all non-human identities. This is really about scaling security efficiently. Cloud providers offer powerful IAM tools for managing machine identities. In AWS, for example, you'd use AWS IoT Core to register your smart light bulb as a thing. You'd then create an IAM role with very specific permissions, entitlements, that the light bulb is allowed to assume. This role would only grant access to, say, publish light status messages to an IoT topic and nothing else. This granular control means that even if someone compromises the device, its IAM role prevents it from accessing other critical AWS resources. It's a perfect example of least privilege applied to a machine identity in the cloud. Similarly, in Azure, if an application, a service account, running on a virtual machine needs to access a storage account, you wouldn't hardcode credentials. Instead, you'd use an Azure managed identity. This identity is automatically managed by Azure and assigned to your VM. You then grant this managed identity-specific Azure RBAC, role-based access control, roles on the storage account, perhaps storage blob data reader but not contributor. Azure handles the credential rotation, and you only grant the precise entitlements needed. This provides a secure, least privilege way for services to interact, removing credential management headaches. Over in Google Cloud Platform, GCP, service accounts are the primary way non-human identities interact with resources. If a Google Cloud function needs to write logs to cloud logging, you create a service account for that function. You then grant that service account IAM roles like logs writer and absolutely nothing else. GCP ensures that this service account's credentials are secure and only used by the authorized function. It's a fundamental aspect of building secure, automated workflows in GCP, adhering strictly to the principle of least privilege for every automated task. This consistency across cloud platforms is key. Effective IAM isn't just about initial setup, it's about managing identities throughout their entire lifecycle. This includes provisioning, creating the identity and assigning initial access, ongoing management, adjusting access as roles change, enforcing policies, and deprovisioning, revoking all access when an identity is no longer needed. For humans, this means when an employee leaves, their access should be immediately removed. For machines, if a device is retired, its identity and entitlements must be deactivated. A lapse at any stage, especially deprovisioning, creates a major security risk, leading to orphan accounts that attackers love to exploit. This continuous management is crucial. Trying to manually manage all these identities, access rights, and entitlements across an entire organization, especially with the explosion of IoT, is impossible. That's why automation is your best friend in IAM. Automated systems can provision identities, apply roles and entitlements, enforce policies, monitor for anomalies, and deprovision access instantly. This not only makes security stronger by reducing human error and ensuring consistency but also makes IT operations far more efficient. Automation is the only way to achieve truly scalable and robust IAM in today's complex digital landscape. Embrace the robots. So, we've covered a lot today. We talked about what a digital identity is, from humans to machines and service accounts. We explored how systems recognize identities through something you know, have, or are, and how MFA supercharges that. We defined access as granted permissions and entitlements as bundles of those rights, all guided by the principle of least privilege. And we walked through a real-world breach to see why all of this matters so much. Understanding these core concepts is your first step to becoming a security champion, whether you're in IT or just an everyday digital citizen. Keep learning, stay curious, and always think about identity. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the CyberXplain channel. See you on the next video.